everyone, welcome to another crochet tutorial with me, Laura, and a special one for the Happy Berry Hampers. And this is the Summer Sea Breeze Shawl pattern. So hopefully you've received your 3 balls of the KingCole Opium Palette Caribbean Blue. So you've all got the same colour this season, so gone for the Caribbean Blue. So I hope you like it. So we're going to have a look at the pattern today, and we're going to start off with row 1. So we're going to grab our 6mm crochet hook. You should have a really nice wooden crochet hook. I'm just going to have to use my same one, I'm afraid, because I don't have any of those left for me. Poor me. And it's also a good idea to have a pair of scissors and a yarn needle as well. Okay, so we're going to take our yarn, and the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to chain 6 to begin. So what I love about this yarn, it's a nice variegated yarn, so it ends up with a really lovely finish on the shawl, which we'll show at the end. So we're going to start off with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 6 to begin. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so we chained 6, and we're going to do 1 double crochet in the first chain. So that's in US terminology. This pattern's in US terminology, but if you're following the UK terminology section, then a double crochet is simply a treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over, going to put our hook into our very first chain that we created, this one right down here by our slip knot, bring the yarn through, and we just pull through 2 to do our double crochet. Okay, and we've got what is we're going to call one of our square blocks. So they look like little square blocks. So that's our row 1, and we've got our very first square block. So we're going to move on to row 2, and we're going to start every row by chaining 6. So every row that you do, you always start by chaining 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so chain 6, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work. So we're going to turn our work and work in the opposite direction. We're going to do 1 double crochet in the 6 chain space. So this big square block space, we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, so put your hook into there and just wrapping it around the chains. Oh no, we need to yarn over first, that does help. Yarn over first, and if you lose where you are and you get confused, the very beginning of your project will always have this tail end. So always look for that tail end. That will really help you when you're trying to look to where to crochet. So yarn over, go into the square block and do a double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to chain 3 in between. So 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, and we're going to do another double crochet in the same 6 chain space. Okay, so chain 3, yarn over, go back into that 6 chain space and do another double crochet. Okay, so that's the end of row 2, and you should now have 2 square blocks created. So now we're going to move on to row 3, and we're going to again chain 6 at the beginning. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Going to turn our work, and again making sure your tail end is at the bottom so we know where we're working. We're going to do 1 double crochet in that first 3 chain space. So this first square block here, our 3 chain space, we're going to do a double crochet in there. So yarn over, hook into there and do a double crochet. We'll always do that at the beginning of each row. Okay, so that's just in that square block. But then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're always chaining 3 in between. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in the previous double crochet. So we've got our first double crochet in the middle. So we're going to yarn over and we're going to work into the stitch at the top. Okay, so we're actually going to work into that previous double crochet and do a double crochet. Okay. Then we're going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to finish up with 1 double crochet in this 6 chain space, this last square block. So go into there and just wrapping it around the chain to do a double crochet. And this is the beginning of our pattern. So we always chain 6 at the beginning, and we always do 1 double crochet in that first square block. Then we chain 3 in between, and then we work a double crochet in the previous double crochet stitch. Then we chain 3 and then do a double crochet in the last square block. So by the end of row 3 you should have 3 square blocks. So moving on to row 4, hopefully this pattern will start to make sense. So we're going to chain 6 at the beginning as normal, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and we're going to turn our work, and if we're confused where to work, we just make sure this tail ends at the bottom, and there's our row to work into. So we're going to start off with a double crochet in that first square block, that first 3 chain space. Do a double crochet in there. Okay. Then we're going to chain 3 in between, so we always chain 3 in between, but now we work into our double crochets instead, our previous double crochet. So there's our first one. So find the stitch at the top. Sometimes it helps just to pull it open with this type of yarn. I'm going to work into the stitch. Oh, I didn't yarn over. I keep forgetting to yarn over, and then work into the stitch. I actually already filmed this once already, and I've lost all the video files, so I've had to do this again. It's quite frustrating. Okay, so that's our double crochet in our previous double crochet. Chain 3. So always chain 3 in between, and then we've got another previous double crochet, so we're going to double crochet into there as well. So see this one here? So we yarn over and then find our next double crochet and stitch at the top. Do a double crochet in there. Okay, and then we're at the end, no more double crochets, we just finish up with chain 3 and a double crochet in the last 6 chain space, this last square block. Do a double crochet in there, just wrapping it around the chains. Okay, so let's bring that up. So at the end of row 4, as expected, we have 4 square blocks. So at the beginning, chain 6 and always do 1 double crochet in the first square block. Then as we work through the middle of the pattern, we chain 3 and do a double crochet in the previous double crochets. Chain 3, double crochet, the previous double crochet. So the next row we'll have 3 double crochets to work into. Then when you get to the end and you run out of double crochets, we just chain 3 and do a double crochet in the last square block. So row 5 would be chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Turn our work, find the bottom. So there's the bottom, so we need to make sure we're facing the right way. Always make sure that's at the bottom, that'll really help. And then we find our row, we yarn over and we do a double crochet in the first square block. Okay. Then we chain 3, and we've got 3 double crochets to work into this time. So chain 3, there's our first double crochet, so we work into the stitch at the top there, yarn over. Oops. Okay. Then we chain 3 again, and then we've got another double crochet, this one here, so we're going to yarn over and do a double crochet on the top of that double crochet. Chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, yarn over. And we've got another double crochet here, so we're going to do a double crochet in there as well, into that stitch. So we've done that 3 times for row 5. Then we run out of double crochets, so we finish up with chain 3 and 1 double crochet in that last square block in that 6 chain space. Just wrapping it around. Nice and easy. So there we go, and that's the end of row 5, and you should have 5 of these square blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just repeat that pattern over and over and over again, just making it bigger and bigger. Until you end up with, I think, is 60 square blocks. So I'm just going to check that by bringing in the completed shawl. So here is the completed shawl, and I'm just going to count how many I did. So let's have a look. So 2, 4, 66, 58 and 60. Okay, so by the end of your shawl you should have along the top 60. So if I can zoom out and show you, let's have a look. So you should have 60 square blocks all along the top edge. So our very beginning was all the way down here. Okay, so the end, the very beginning was here, where we started off with the 1 square block. So I just repeated that all the way to the end until I ended up with, all the way up here, 60 square blocks along the top edge. So what we want to do now, once you've done that, is to add these tassels, which is really super easy. Now you can make this shawl bigger or smaller, but if you do make it bigger, bear in mind that you will need enough yarn to make your tassels, and your tassels take up a surprising amount of yarn. They're going to take up almost pretty much over half a ball of this yarn, so do bear that in mind. If you think, oh, I've got 1 ball left, I can make it bigger. If you want to add the tassels, then you will need to have at least half a ball of yarn left to do the tassels. So you can make the tassels smaller if you want to, or not do them at all. That's entirely up to you, so just bear that in mind. But what we're going to do to make the tassels is we place the tassels. This is a really good way of not having to tie in your tail ends as well, so you don't have to tie any tail ends on this project because you can make them part of the tassels. So we start at the very beginning of our shawl with the very first tassel here. And it's a good idea to do the tassels equally, so start here, then go up like that, and then up the other side, rather than doing it all over the place, and that will get a nice variegated colour spread for your tassels. So all we're going to do is we're going to take, so let's undo this, a little sample piece, is we just take 5 lengths about this long. So how long do they make them? It's about this long. So we take a short length about 8 to 10 inches long, like that, and we want 5 of these, so you can cut it first and then just use that piece to measure the next one. Take 5 of these. 2, 3, 4 and 5. So we've got 5 lengths, and this is about 8 to 10 inches long. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take each end and then we just fold them in half like that, but keeping the loop on your finger like that. We're going to take our gap, so let's find a gap to show you an example. Put one at the very end along here. We're going to take one of the little square blocks and then we feed it through the square blocks, and just holding the loop open before you bring it all the way through, we just feed the tail ends, grab the tail ends through, and then just pull to tighten. And that creates your tassels. Simple as that. So you can, any tail ends you can just mix into that and it will keep it nice and neat. So you just want to repeat that for each side of the shawl. So like I said, this was the very beginning of the shawl, the corner, bottom corner, and I did tassels all the way along here and all the way along here, but I kept the very top edge clear. It says no tassels along there. So I will showcase a few pictures now just to show you the finished shawl, and it's as easy as that. So I hope you enjoyed that very quick tutorial. Hope you managed to follow along. I'll see you soon for some more crochet fun. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Super easy.